Okay, let's dive in. What does confidence actually mean for men today? Seriously. Is it like being the loudest guy in the room, always flexing?
Yeah, because that popular image, it just doesn't seem to match reality for a lot of guys, does it?
Not at all.
Yeah,
You see this hidden struggle, lots of misunderstanding around what real confidence even looks like.
definitely.
So for this deep dive, we've pulled together some really diverse stuff. Research, expert takes, but also some, frankly, brutally honest talk from real people.
Yeah, some raw perspectives in there.
Our mission today, to really unpack modern masculinity and confidence, the subtle stuff, the obvious stuff, the sometimes damn contradictory stuff,
Like what builds it, what wrecks it.
and how you can actually court it for yourself. All right, let's get into it.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Society pushes this idea of loud, performative confidence.
Right, the big show.
But the psychology, it points somewhere else entirely. It suggests true confidence is often, well, quiet, almost invisible, you know?
How so? Invisible.
It's not about demanding attention. It's about not needing it. That subtle shift, it actually puts a lot of those outwardly confident types at a disadvantage.
Okay, so if it's not about volume,
Yeah.
what are those subtle signs? What should you actually look for?
Well, one huge one is listening. Genuinely confident men, they listen way more than they talk.
Hmm.
There's good research on this. Like, Harvard Business Review found good listeners are seen as better leaders consistently.
Why is that, do you think?
Because they're not busy trying to prove themselves. They're actually present. They're absorbing, understanding, really hearing someone. That's a quiet power move, shows real security.
That makes sense. Shifts the focus out, not in. And what about vulnerability? I keep hearing that's a strength, not weakness, which feels backwards sometimes.
It feels totally backwards to how many men are raised, yeah. But confident guys, they're not scared of showing vulnerability. It's not a flaw. It's like an emotional muscle they've worked.
Got an example.
Yeah, I remember this story about a guy, let's call him Jake. Big networking thing, right? And he openly talks about this massive project he ran that just failed, tanked completely.
Gutsy.
Totally. Didn't sugarcoat it, just owned it. Said what went wrong, what he learned, and the wild part, people respected him more afterwards. That takes real confidence, deep emotional intelligence.
Wow, okay. That's powerful. Another subtle one I've noticed or heard about is being okay with silence.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
I used to hate silence.
Yeah.
Felt like I had to fill every gap. But truly confident people, like this guy Sam I read about, they can just be in silence. It's not awkward for them.
Exactly. They don't need constant chatter to feel validated. Silence isn't scary because they know it's just a pause, a moment to be present. It's actually really liberating when you experience it.
Liberating, yeah.
And that self-comfort, it usually shows in how they treat others, too. They're quick to celebrate other people's wins.
Ah, so they give genuine compliments.
Yeah. Yeah, genuine ones, not trying to get something, just actual appreciation. They're secure enough that someone else's success doesn't threaten them. They actually enjoy seeing others do well.
That's a huge difference. Reflects their own self-worth, right?
Totally. And linked to that, they're surprisingly okay with saying, I don't know.
Which can feel risky, like you're supposed to have all the answers.
Right. But studies show people who bluff and overestimate their knowledge, and they come across as less competent. The ones who admit they don't know, more trustworthy, more reliable.
Huh. So admitting ignorance is actually a smart move.
Confident guys see it as a chance to learn, makes them respected. And it's not just about words, it's about action too. They own their mistakes, take responsibility.
Go blame game.
Nope. Takes real strength to choose learning over looking perfect. And that same security makes them quick to help out. Not for points, just genuine care.
Like that story of the guy stopping in the rain for a flat tire.
Exactly that. Confidence in action. Plus, psychology suggests helping others actually boost your own self-esteem. Win-win.
Okay, so those are the quiet signs. But what about when confidence isn't even? Like across the board.
Yeah. That's where it gets really interesting.
There's this incredible example, right? A heavyweight boxing champ. Tough as nails. Goes toe-to-toe with killers in the ring.
Yeah.
But was apparently terrified to confront his gardener about a bill. Had to get his coach to do it for him.
Get out! Seriously, a heavyweight champ.
Seriously, it sounds nuts, right? But it just brutally shows that confidence isn't this single fixed thing. It's often domain specific.
So, like, super confident in one area.
Yeah, the ring.
Yeah.
But totally anxious about a simple, everyday conflict.
Uneven courage. Wow. That completely shreds the old macho stereotype.
It really does.
Yep.
And it leads us right into this kind of blunt, tough question. If confidence is so vital, Why does it seem like so many men are struggling with it right now?
That's the core issue, isn't it?
You hear things like men acting like deers in the headlights in public. And if you look at online forums, Reddit, places like that, man, it is a goddamn rumble of different opinions and frustrations.
It really is. And the mental health stats for men. They're stark. There's a lot of pain behind this discussion. A feeling that male confidence is genuinely struggling.
Let's dig into some of those raw takes. One guy was talking about social media, right? Setting these totally insane standards.
Unrealistic, yeah?
Not just looks like washboard abs, but also like how much you can drink, how charismatic you are, sexual conquest.
Right, the whole package.
And the kicker, he argues women don't give a shit about most of that stuff. It's other men like in frats or whatever pushing these ideals, trying to prove their manhood to each other.
Performative masculinity, that's a heavy weight to carry.
Totally. Then there's the media angle, how men are often shown as kind of inept.
Yeah, the bumbling dad trope or...
Whereas like those Gillette ads basically scolding men for being toxic. It feeds this narrative that society doesn't want men, or at least not confident men.
Creates this feeling of being constantly judged, put on the defensive.
And that ties right into emotional suppression, doesn't it? The whole man-up culture.
Absolutely. You got to hold it all in. As someone put it, it's just not socially acceptable to talk about your insecurities all the time if you're a guy.
Which is just destructive. Bottling that up, it clearly messes with mental health. It's a vicious cycle.
A damn vicious cycle. And add to that this feeling that men just don't get validated much. Fewer compliments than women, maybe?
Yeah, that came up. Lack of external validation leaves guys constantly hunting for proof they measure up.
And there's no clear finish line, no modern rite of passage into manhood. So it becomes this endless search for manhood. It's confusing, leaves a void.
Okay, then there's the really blunt one, the dark side of comfort.
Ah, yeah. Comfort is the killer of man. Brutal, but...
Hits hard, right. This idea that overdoing it on modern pleasures, junk food, porn, gaming, endless scrolling.
All the easy dopamine hits.
Right. They're not harmless. They can mess up your brain chemistry, sap your actual drive, your go-getter energy.
And lead to self-distrust. If you can't even trust yourself to, like, eat well or get off the couch, how the hell can you feel confident tackling bigger things?
Creates this loop of inaction, which then connects to this other point. Feeling like a man's value is all conditional.
Based on what you achieve, yeah.
Yeah.
Your job, your money.
Makes love more conditional, as one person put it, leads to that constant feeling of not being enough.
And relying heavily on external validation, which is just flimsy. It can vanish anytime. Not a solid foundation for confidence.
Okay, so we've talked about the struggles, the different pressures. This brings up toxic masculinity. It's a term that gets thrown around a lot. What the hell does it actually mean? And how is it different from, you know, healthy masculinity?
Good question. It gets misunderstood all the time. Basically, toxic masculinity is seen as this dominant form where guys use dominance, violence, control.
To assert power.
Yeah. Power and superiority. Think traits like needing to be unconditionally tough physically, fear of showing emotion, discrimination against anyone not straight, hyper-independence, like you can never ask for help, sexual aggression, anti-feminist attitudes.
Those rigid, harmful ideals.
Exactly. And the consequences are just devastating, seriously.
Like what? Let's be blunt.
Violence against women, for starters. Staggering stat. 93% of murdered women were killed by a man they knew. It fuels isolation from men themselves, poor health, unhappiness, higher rates of drug crime, antisocial behavior, overdose.
And suicide. The rate for men is, what, over 3.5 times higher than for women?
Tragically, yes. And it makes men resist getting help, like therapy. It's seen as weak. That's a massive, brutal cost for sticking to those outdated macho codes.
So how do we fight that? What does healthy masculinity look like?
It's about encouraging the opposite, really. Emotional expression, compassion for yourself and others, kindness, actually listening to feelings, validating them, calling out disrespect, checking in with your male friends, like genuinely asking how they're doing.
Building real connection, not just putting up a front.
Precisely. And that brings us back to vulnerability. We touched on it earlier.
Right. The counterintuitive strength.
It really is. It's not weakness, it's strength. It means letting the walls down, feeling a wider range of stuff, which is good for mental health. Saying things out loud, sadness, anger, pain, actually makes them less intense.
Yeah. Didn't know that.
Yeah. And it builds trust in relationships, breaks that cycle where repressed feelings just erupt and hurt people. It's about being whole, authentic, not some repressed half version of yourself.
Okay. Shifting gears a bit, but related. There's this really uncomfortable truth we need to tackle.
Which is?
Why do so many apparently incompetent men end up in charge as leaders?
Yeah. That's a big uncomfortable one. Because the data suggests most leaders actually have pretty negative effects on their teams. Low engagement, low trust, high stress.
Right. You Google, my boss is,
Yeah.
and the autocomplete is like crazy, abusive, toxic. It's nuts.
So the question isn't just, why aren't there more women leaders? It's, why are so many incompetent men running things?
And the research points to a few key reasons.
3 main ones, yeah. First, we are just terrible at telling the difference between confidence and actual competence.
We see confidence and assume skill.
Exactly. We assume confidence equals potential, but often there's very little overlap. Men, studies suggest, are typically more deceived about their talents than women are.
So they overestimate themselves more.
Generally, yeah. And that self-deception, that overconfidence without the competence to back it up, it actually helps them get ahead, gets them promoted.
That's infuriating. What's the second reason?
Our love affair with charisma, especially now with mass media, we want leaders who are entertaining, charming.
We want a showman.
Pretty much. But the best leaders, they're often kind of humble, maybe even rather boring. They make rational decisions, they prepare, they listen, they don't cause scandals. Think Angela Merkel.
Effective, but not flashy.
Exactly. Boring for the news cycle, maybe, but damn good for stability and actual leadership.
Okay, and the third reason?
Our inability to resist narcissists. People with these huge, grandiose visions, they tap into our own desires for admiration, maybe? And a lot of popular leadership advice, love yourself no matter what, think you're great, and you are. It kind of feeds that narcissism.
Creates leaders who lack empathy?
Lack empathy, self-control, integrity. They take reckless risks, act without thinking of consequences.
Man, that's a bleak picture of leadership selection. And it gets even deeper with gendered self-perception, right?
It does. Psychologically, there's this tendency for men to self-enhance, more habitually agree with positive statements about themselves.
And women.
Tend to self-derogate, more agree with negative self-statements. It looks like a fundamental difference.
What is it?
Well, here's the fascinating part. When researchers account for these unconscious tendencies, this sort of varnishing of the self, there's actually no gender difference in unvarnished self-evaluation, how people genuinely feel deep down.
Whoa. So the difference is just the surface presentation.
Largely, yeah. And the theory is women's self-derogation might come from just experiencing more negative feedback from society, more harassment, insult, sexism, signals of low valuation.
So they internalize that negativity, internalize sexism.
That's the idea. Shows how powerfully society can shape how we unconsciously see ourselves.
Okay, so given all that, the pressures, the bad leadership models, the self-perception traps, how the hell do you forge your own damn confidence? The real kind.
Right. Because the most solid confidence, it doesn't come from your genes or what other people think. It comes from competence, from mastery, building actual skill.
Okay, how does that work? Is there a process?
Yeah, think of it in 3 phases. First is apprenticeship. This is the grind, humble learning, pushing through boredom and frustration, making mistakes and seeing them as data, not failures, absorbing, practicing, learning to manage the suck.
Right, paying your dues, what's next?
Phase 2, creative active. Now you're not just copying, you start experimenting, trying your own approach, finding your style. You learn to fail fast. Make small bets, see what works, learn quickly, adjust. Your skills get sharper, more intuitive. You build a real track record.
And you have proof you can do it.
Exactly, proof for yourself. And phase 3 is mastery. Now it's almost automatic, intuitive. You see the big picture. You spot opportunities others miss. You can innovate. You're not thrown by unexpected problems because you have deep knowledge and the confidence to improvise. Adapt. Pivot.
And this applies to anything.
Anything. Being a master lover, a great dad, skilled athlete, a killer conversationalist, same damn path.
Okay. And part of walking that path is dealing with the crap in your own head, right? These invisible scripts.
Oh yeah, huge part. These are like harmful programs running that keep you stuck.
Like what? Give me an example.
Biggest one. People-pleasing. Constantly eating validation from others. That's kid stuff, left over from childhood dependence. That shit needs to go bye-bye. Your confidence can't be built on other people's shifting opinions.
Okay, what else?
The others know better script. Always deferring. Feeling like an imposter. Thinking everyone else has it figured out but you.
Feeds imposter syndrome.
Totally. You gotta get out there, get your own experiences, make your own mistakes, build your own judgment. And then there's being over-apologetic.
Sorry for existing.
Pretty much. Sorry for having an opinion, sorry for wanting more money, sorry for finding someone attractive. Confident people aren't sorry for who they are or what they want. You gotta smash that script to dust.
Damn. Okay, so what tools do you need? How do you build this stuff?
First, develop assertiveness. Dish the nice guy act if it means you can't speak up or set boundaries. Learn to state your needs clearly and respectfully.
What else?
Cultivate your inner game. Your internal psychology needs to match the confidence you want to project. It's about deep self-belief, resilience, an unshakable internal core.
And you mentioned being blunt.
Yeah. Stop being a loser. And I don't mean you are a loser, but stop the behaviors and mindsets that make you feel bad about yourself. Procrastination, self-sabotage, negative self-talk. Dismantle that suite of loser behaviors. Take disciplined action. Step up.
Okay, tough love. What else is crucial?
Emotional intelligence. Hugely important. Understanding your own emotions, managing them, and understanding others. Self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship management. It's key for everything.
And if you're really stuck?
Then seek help. Seriously, talk to a professional. Therapy isn't weakness, it's maintenance. It can help rebuild resilience, change your perspective on failure. Some therapists even suggest things like intentional rejections.
Like what? Asking for things you expect to be denied.
Exactly. Asking for a discount, asking someone out you think will say no, just to get used to hearing no, to desensitize yourself. Rejection isn't the end of the world. Learning to handle it is a massive confidence booster.
Right. It's just part of the game.
It really is. And remember, confidence, it's a journey. Constant growth, constant learning, not some final destination you just arrive at.
It's about being authentic. Strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
And just keep showing up.
Exactly.
So, for everyone listening, maybe take a second. Reflect on your own stuff. Are you okay with silence? Do you give real compliments? Do you own your mistakes? Where could you maybe start building a little mastery, even something small?
Yeah, where's your starting point?
Because here's the paradox, right? When you actually accept yourself, flaws and all, then you can really start to change. The true mark of confidence isn't perfection. It's knowing that whatever cards you were dealt, whatever life throws at you, you have the power to make yourself into who you want to be.
You get to decide.
So what does it mean for you starting today?